Hello everyone, welcome back to James Recommends. Last week, I recorded this episode saying to myself, James, you're never going to get any time to record an episode the week after PAX. You really, before you head out, should record an extra episode. So of course I did. And what do they do at PAX? They make one announcement. There's only one real major announcement coming out of PAX. And of course it destroys this week's episode. This week I was going to recommend Pandora, which is basically a HD remake of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. And what do they announce at PAX? Civilization Beyond Earth, which is basically an HD remake of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. I'm going to recommend Pandora anyway, though, because it has its own unique features, and for a lot of us, who wants to wait a year and a half for a new sci-fi civilization? Alright, so I've had a kick doing these videos, and I'm approaching them kind of like I always approach making games, right? Try something, iterate, try something new. So this week I'm going to try and bring a format to these videos. I'm going to try and talk about what's awesome, what's unique, and what's terrible about each of these games. And so we're going to start with Pandora. Let's talk about what's awesome. And what's awesome is just the fact that people, out of love, took the probably most overlooked entry in the Civilization series, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, and gave it the HD treatment it deserves. This is about as faithful of a port as you can possibly look for. It's and if you don't know, if you never played the old Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, it's everything you'd want in a sci-fi version of Civ. There are aliens, futuristic technology, all sorts of crazy civilizations, and ruins to discover, all these things that you'd want in colonizing a new world. And so they've brought that all up to the HD future. As far as what's unique about it, there are a couple of features of this game which I don't think should be overlooked. Primarily, it's the tech tree. The tech tree in this game tries a wild experiment. They have a semi-randomized tech tree. For any of you guys who have played Civ, what they do is they take each of the eras, like you have in Civ, and keep the technologies within that era the same, but randomize how they're connected. So each time you play, what tech leads to what new tech is different. This actually is a phenomenal thing for this game, because I love the Civilization games. I have poured literally hundreds of hours into pretty much every Civilization game that has ever been released. But I find myself falling into patterns, right? You adjust a little bit for what resources you find around your starting cities and the couple of cities you expand to. But in a lot of ways, many of us fall into a rhythm of the techs we get and the type of civilization we want to build. But in Pandora, because the tech tree is semi-randomized, you don't just have to adjust for the resources you find, but also for how the tech tree is laid out, which forces you to travel down new and unique paths and try out different strategies every time you play, which I actually thought was a pretty powerful addition to the game. Beyond that, Pandora has this strange unit building feature where a tech might unlock your basic infantry unit, and then a different tech might unlock a type of weapon or armor that you can equip that unit with. And you can tell each of your cities to build different versions of the same core unit. So you can really customize how you want your military aspect of the game to play out. That said, what's terrible about this game is that aspect really creates a lot of complexity. And yes, it provides depth, but not nearly as much as one might hope for the level of sort of complexity and barrier to entry that it presents new players. For old hands at Civ, or even after you played it for a little bit, it's nothing too difficult to manage. But between the randomized tech tree, and especially between the individually customizable units, you have a added level of complexity to the already super complex world of Civ, which then is made all the more daunting by being in this sci-fi setting where the words you see on the screen may not mean anything to you. Unlike in Civ, where you know what an aqueduct is, or you know what a hospital is, a nano manipulator doesn't inherently mean anything to most of us. So if the Civilization games have put you off due to their complexity, Pandora is probably not the place to step in. On the other hand, if you love Civilization and really have always wanted a sci-fi Civilization, especially if you've never gone back and played the old Alpha Centauri games, or if the announcement for Civilization Beyond Earth got you super excited, this week, James recommends Pandora. All right, see y'all next week.